Howdy, welcome back to More Space Engineers. And today, we're going to make a 3D printer. Because what better way to make a lot of things than to just have them make themselves? So, let's do it. Alright, we're going to build that 3D printer over here. Because this parking pad looks like a great place to do it. Now, one of the first things we're going to need to do, we're actually going to need to tear out this wall. Just that little bit right there. We're going to use that spot to make a connection point for it. Now, everything we're going to need for this project, you'll see it down there on the bar right now. It's the conveyor tubes, a piston, the tool heads, a hinge. We're going to need a control station and a programmable block. We're also going to need item 8 there, some plates, and some windows. Not a big thing, but just wanted to make sure everybody knew. Now, I could put another junction in there, but I'm not going to. I'm actually going to use a T, but I'm going to use the reinforced T, like so. Place it right there on the bottom, and I got to weld that up right away. And then we need a reinforced curved tube right there. And that will allow the base to stay airtight without having a whole bunch of extra ports we're never going to use. Now we're just going to place a piston right there. And on the end of that piston, we are going to place a junction. Alright, that ought to be good. And I know from previous experience that I need to place all those there or it won't work properly. At least I hope that that's what's going on here. It won't let me place that. It'll let me place it there, but it won't let me place it there. And that's just wrong. Alright, now it's letting me place that and that. Okay. Yeah, so apparently those are where you have to start. We don't need all of these. We only need that one. And the reason we don't need all of those is because if you look at these have conveyor ports on the back and both sides. So we're going to use those to actually make the connection between the printer heads. So we just need that one there. Now, we need that times 3. And we don't want to use a junction like that. We're just going to use a T and a curve, just like so. In the end, we're going to wind up with 15 weld heads all lined up, which is a lot. Not going to lie, that's a whole lot. But this is kind of future-proofing to be able to print large items. So, now we've got that. That's going to be our 3D printer head. And that's all going to need to be welded up. But before I go away and weld that up, we're also going to want a window. We are definitely going to want a window. And I'll go through and I'll explain why it is you want the window as soon as I get this in place. Alright. So the reason you want a window is because we're going to actually be printing from a blueprint. And sometimes these weld tips will weld way back in here. And you can see that's kind of got some funky bends to it. So it'll wind up making small grid blocks that will interfere with the weld head itself if it can build them back in here. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to add a window. Alright, let's do a 3x3 window first, and then do a 2x3 window. There we go. That'll work. Alright, so that, because that breaks up this face, nothing from the blueprint will be able to print on this side of that glass plane. That glass pane. That will allow us to ensure that our creations never actually tangle up with our print head. And you'll understand that once we get a blueprint in here and start actually making things work. Now, I need to go weld all of this up, and we'll be right back. Alright, so we've got everything welded up, and it looks pretty good. I'm not happy with these little tabs sticking off, but I don't think there's a way around that. So I think what I'm going to do here is just to make that look better, a little better, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add just some of these things right here, kind of somewhat smooth that out a little bit. And I'm hoping these aren't going to be a detriment to how everything works, but see. Why am I not using my jetpack? Oh well, I'll use them over here. And we're going to do the same thing all the way around. There, and right there. Matter of fact, here's what we're going to do here. We're going to grab this, and we're going to say, on. No welding hassle. The welder welded everything up for me. There we go. So now that's good. Now, I did play with making sure this all functioned and moved. And what I discovered was, probably because I've got such a big weld head on here, I had to increase the impulse axis and non-axis impulse. But now it goes and it moves just fine. We're going to have to mess with that speed, but one of the things I do want you to notice is that these lights do not make a collision. There is no collision there. They have no collision box. So that's fine. We don't have to remove the lights to do this. For aesthetic reasons, we might want to, but you don't have to. Now we can see where this is at. It's right here on the center is where it ends up, and that's right here on this particular block, which works out pretty good for us. We're going to mark this block, and that's where we're going to make our control panel and our projector. Right there. Let's reverse this and get it out of the way. Alright, so right here, we don't need anything too special. What I do want is this is where the hinge comes into play. Because this is going to be used primarily for printing small grid objects. I'm not planning on printing large grid. We need a small grid connection here. Now we need to find that hinge. It's the only one not done. Add a small head. There it is. Okay. And weld that up. Alright, and you used to be able to reach through and get the connector right there, but you can't, I can't seem to make that work anymore. I believe that was hinge 3. Velocity, turn around. It went the wrong way, so we need to reverse its velocity. We want that to be facing up. We'll reverse its velocity. And then we're going to set its lower limit to -90. That's where we want it. And its upper limit, that also -90. We're going to set a velocity to 0. And we're going to hinge lock it. That won't go anywhere. Alright, so on here, oh my goodness, you know what I forgot to put on my bar? I need a projector, and we're going to need that. We're going to start by putting the projector here. And if you look at the image in the right-hand side of the screen there, it kind of shows you how the projector needs to be. We want the 4 up top, and the 2 I'm going to assume is the front. Put that right there like that. That'll give us a nice projector to work with. Then we're going to just fill this all in. going to swap to the 45-degree slopes because we'll be able to place those along the edges. Well, not those edges, because those are interfered with by that radius. But we can put them here. And then we need the 45-degree corner. These ones right here. That'll make a nice corner in that area. And a nice corner right there. We're going to do that all the way around. In the end, I want this to be something that we can walk on and not worry about it. These corners also go good right here. Getting them out of the way of that radius. And then right in this little hole here, we're going to actually need a panel. Place that right there like that. And now we have one whole solid block to work with. Well, one full solid platform. Find the correct toolbar here. On here, I want a control station. Just one of these. Just like so. And we're going to wind up building more onto this, but for now, that's probably good. And right here, we're actually going to need a computer for what I want to do next. And this will be the first programmable block that we really incorporate into this build. And that will be one that we actually use. It's not necessary, but it makes my life a whole lot easier. Now we're just going to turn on all these weld heads and reverse. Well, we'll reverse first, and then we'll turn on all the weld heads. So once it gets up there, we'll turn on all the weld heads, and that should weld that all up for us with no issue. Yeah, see, that's all welded up nicely. And don't get too close to these while they're on, because they will hurt you, and they hurt a lot. It does not apply when you're sitting at a control station, though, thankfully. Now we're just going to take all welders and turn them off. There, now we're safe to go back to working over here. So we've got the projector there, and we're going to need something for the whatever it is we're 3D printing to build off of. So we're going to need a tower, basically right here. Something we can attach them to. Weld that up real quick with our welder. There we go. And that's basically our whole system done. Now we're just going to take this and we're going to reverse it. Get it out of the way. Now we can get everything set up. Alright, so setting this up, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over to this piston. And I like to make it super slow. Rather than having it be negative 0.5, we're going to change it to negative 0.05. And that's going to be substantially slower. You can see that there. And I think that's going to be slow enough. And that's just to ensure that it can actually weld everything up before it moves away from the blocks that need to be welded. Now, we also need to come in, and I forgot something here. We need to look up all the welders. Now you can see all the welders here because I went in through this welder. All the ones connected to this weld head are going to be the white ones. And we're just going to group those and name them printer head. And while we're at it, we're going to name this piston printer piston. Alright, so that's all named. That's good to go. Now we're going to come over to this console. Alright, so in here, we are looking to first name all the blocks that are connected to us. So this helm, printer helm, and then we've got a projector, and we've got a programmable block. And that should be all the blocks that we need to worry about now. So, we're going to come in and we're going to go into the control panel here. We're going to need a few things on this bar. Now, I like to use 8 and 9 for the toolbar, so hit Control 8 or Control 9. Not sure the command to switch to different toolbars on the PlayStation or Xbox, but I'm thinking you can figure that out just fine. So on 8, we're going to put the projector. We're going to first do toggle block on, and then we're going to put the horizontal and vertical and forward and back. And now on 9, we're going to do toggle block on off. We're going to do pitch, yaw, and roll. There we go. Now we've got all the controls for the projector on there. Switch back to toolbar 1. Toggle block on off for the printer again. Or sorry, the projector. And then we're going to do piston, reverse, and we're going to take the printer heads. We're going to toggle them on off. Alright, so now from this station, we can turn the projector on off. We can reverse the piston head. You can see it's starting to move there. It's really slow, but it's moving. And we can turn the bulb heads on and off as well. Now we're going to come into the projector. And if you're going to be printing a lot of things, you're going to want to choose your blueprint. And we're just going to go with this one right here. Cargo drone. Okay. Oh, I forgot something. Keep projection. You need to make sure keep projection is selected. Otherwise, as soon as you turn the printer off, or the projector off, the blueprint will go away. So now, we have a projection here, but you can see where it's at. It's down and underneath. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to change our view. And now, whoa, that was a bit of a jump. That was not what I wanted to have happen. Okay, there we go. Now, being on toolbar 8, because it looks like it's just backwards and down, we should be able to, that's side to side, move it up, and move it forward. Wrong button. Alright, now we're going to look and we're going to see. We are still too far back. We'll move it forward a bit more. Alright, that looks good to me. So now, we can just print these. And they'll just print where we want them to print. Okay, so that's it. That is a 3D printer. Now we're going to actually use it. And the thing with using a 3D printer though, what you're going to have to remember is you're going to want to have all the components to build whatever you're printing first. Because if you run out of components halfway through, you wind up having a junk build. There's just no other way around it. If you don't have all the components, it will weld everything it can, and leave you with a ship that has a block buried in the center that's unfinished, which you don't want. So, let's go ahead and we will... You need something for this to anchor to, and I want that. We will go ahead and we'll be able to pull that block out and replace it with the one that belongs there. So now we're going to reverse the print head, and it will come at us. I'll speed this portion up. Alright, here we are. We're all set up. The thing is back where we want it to be. See if we can get a better view of this without being 5 miles away. No, we're not going to get a better view of it. What I do want to point out, though, is you can see now all of those projected pieces behind that glass. None of those will be buildable. So let's go ahead and we'll turn on the welders, and you'll see it stops. It's not building the battery. It's not building any of the blocks in front of that glass, or behind that glass. So that is a safety to make sure that the welders don't weld up blocks inside of other welders. So now we'll reverse it, and we'll watch this thing print. Alright, so as happy as I am with the 3D printer, there's still one thing we have to do. This block right here. I said we'd use it, and we're going to. Now, I've already added the script to it. And you come in, you hit edit, and you go find the script. And what we wanted was Izzy's block renaming script. You're just going to go browse scripts and search for block renaming. Now, you're going to want to subscribe to this on the workshop first, if you have access to programmable blocks. This is not required to do this. It just makes it so much easier that I have to do it. Now we're going to come in and we're going to say Izzy's block renaming script. And we're going to make no changes to it. Then you're going to hit check code. Compilation successful. And right down here you'll see bracket IBR-main. Close bracket. Okay, we're going to add that right here in the name. We're going to change this, and we're going to add IBR-main bracket. Okay, and we're going to hit run. Okay, and now that's going to put all the information that the block has onto this display. Come in and edit text. We can read what it says. You've got your instructions here. It says rename, replace, remove numbers, default name, sets block names to default, localized names, yada yada yada, sort the names, auto sort, add strings, rename the grid, copy custom data, all that good stuff. Now, what we're looking to do is we're actually looking to replace. Okay? And we'll come in here and we'll put that into the arguments. And what we're going to want is all of the blocks for this drone are CD dash. And we want that CD dash, or space dash space, to reflect what the drone is for. So we're going to go in and we're going to type, alright, so the string that I'm about to type into this is wrong. I made a mistake. The replace command works like this. You type in replace, comma, the old string, comma, the new string. And that's all that's required to make it run. But it will replace the names of every block on every grid attached to this one. So if this is a subgrid, it will replace the names on the main grid and any other subgrids. So if you want it to stay on this grid, you need to do the rest of the command, which is replace old string, comma, new string, comma, any filters, comma, the grid name. So we want replace, comma, cd space dash space, comma, cd dash iron space dash space, comma, star, comma, the grid name, which in this case is small grid 305. And that should be up on the screen right now. Pause the video, take a look if you want. That should work for you. And then you won't have the mistakes that I'm about to fix right now. Oh no, I made a mistake. All my LCDs were replaced with LCD-iron because CD-. Okay. So we're going to change that again. We're going to change that to iron. Remove that space. And now we can just use the script to fix that. No, we're going to change that to L. LCD. And that will replace all the LCD-irons with LCD. Run. There we go. We fixed that. Now we've got all the CD-iron. And you'll see all the CD-irons there. Okay. So yeah, it's a dangerous block to use because you can go through and rename everything. But it's also very convenient when done properly. So, yeah, that's just the way that's going to be. We're going to use that because I have a bunch of these drones to make and all of them need to be renamed. So now we just need to come in here and we need to turn that to auto, turn those on, turn on the gyros, listen to clang throw a fit, and detach it. And now we see it floating there. Just fly up, fly over here, and drop it down. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with this. The 3D printer I think is going to work nicely for us, and if we decide to 3D print something larger, it's large enough that we can. So I'm happy with that. And this block, though dangerous, I'm going to use it a lot. You don't have to, but I'm going to in this one particular build. I try to stay away from using programmable blocks in this build, but as you can see, it's a rather simple script, and it's not required. So don't feel like that invalidates everything. It's just one piece. Now, I need to print off a bunch of these and get everything all going again. And then next episode, we'll work on programming some of them. Ooh, actually, no, I need a docking place for them before we can program them. So next episode, we'll build a docking bay for all the drones, because we're going to need at least 5 for getting started. And I'm thinking we want to account for probably 7 of them. 6 should be enough. But we'll make 6 docking bays with room for expansion next episode, and then we'll get to programming them. Come back next week, and we'll build a dock for all the drones we're about to have. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you want to see the next episode, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time. See ya.